All right, not bad. Okay, well, I definitely cannot resist driving this little car. I don't think I can resist long enough to get it finished. So I'm gonna make this thing run right now. A couple guys were asking, and to be honest, I don't really know about the vacuum fuel pump that I put on there. Guys are saying that it has to be gravity fed, that it's not gonna have enough power to suck any fuel up mounted where it is. I don't know, so we're gonna find that out. But to get it to run, we're gonna have to do a bunch of stuff to it. We're gonna have to do fuel lines, fuel filter, fuel shutoff. We're gonna do chain, get the clutch put together. I wanna actually like hook it up so we can fire it up and run it, like turn it with the key, have the battery run it. I might not put the key onto the dash right away, but I just wanna get it so that it's like a turnkey. I feel like that's just gonna spark my motivation so much to be able to just fire it up. Immediately, I'm gonna wanna make gas pedal, brake pedal, all those things. That's what this video is gonna be on right now. I wanna get this thing tootin'. So don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. Let's get some work done on the mini car. Okay, so this is just a cheap import torque averter. You've probably seen these before on go-karts and that kind of thing. They're really neat. They're like a variable speed transmission, like a CVT, I believe is what they're called. So what they do is basically this is our drive side, and the drive side has this spring-loaded clutch mechanism, and what it does is that it slowly pushes together. And you see this taper on the V here? It's so that the belt, as it pushes together, the belt goes larger, which makes this drive faster. And this pulley does the exact opposite. This pulley loosens off, essentially, with centrifugal force as the weights allow this spring to compress and expand the distance between these two plates. This plate is flat, this one is tapered, just like that, and this one opens up to allow the belt to drop down in size. And what that's doing is allowing it to start large here and small here, and then do the opposite. It'll grow here and get smaller here, allowing us to have a torquey startup, but also a faster top speed. So these little units are super sweet, and they're cheap. If you're building a project like these are, I believe, on Amazon for like $100, or maybe not even. But one thing that I've noticed with this one and the last one that I got is that it did not come with a spacer for in here. And it's important that the flat side of this setup is aligned with the flat side on the driven side. So essentially this right now can drop all the way in, but I don't want that. I want to be able to line it up here and here. So I'm going to need it to sit out about like that, which really doesn't give me a whole lot of shaft left, keyed shaft for this piece. So I'm not sure, I guess it's enough, but I'm gonna have to machine myself a little spacer in there to get this plate to sit where I want it to. Once that's figured out, I'm probably gonna end up bolting this thing back in. I'll bolt the exhaust on and the air cleaner on. We'll bolt the motor down. But for now, I'm just gonna make that spacer, adjust this, and then we'll assemble the clutch. Oh no! Oh no. If I had a nickel, I'd have 2 nickels now. I've done that twice. It's 2 times too many. Okay, now we got a little bit of access. Bolt this thing in. All right, we are hilariously close to firing this thing up. All the lines are on. I don't have clamps for them, so I'm hoping that the barbs are just not gonna leak, but that might be wishful thinking. Battery's in, hooked up. I click the key, it's got juice. I'm gonna put some oil in it, some fuel in it, and then we're gonna see. I might actually try and get the fuel up to here first, just by maybe sucking on that tube, and then I wanna see in this see-through line whether or not this pump is actually gonna pump it up. Fingers crossed, but that could be what kind of makes it not run tonight. This is not gear oil like it says. I just put 600 milliliters of 530, which is what they say this motor's supposed to have. So I'm just gonna dump it in. In lawnmowers and any like small engine equipment, you always run the best fuel you can. The higher octane fuels, like if I go to Chevron, I can get 94. Everywhere else is 91 is supreme, I guess. I always run 94 and all this stuff. It's because it has less ethanol, and that's like what gums up your carburetor. So if you have like really junky fuel and it sits in your carb, that's just what's gonna happen. So like my jury cans are always filled up with like 94. Treat it nicer than my daily drivers, you know? The other thing is Aspen. If you've never heard of Aspen, Aspen gas is like 0 ethanol, will not go bad. It could sit in there for 5 years and you go right up to your weed eater, your mower, and it'll just fire right up. This is taking its sweet time to get in there, but. Whoa, must have come pre-filled with a little bit of fuel. It's overflowing. But there's no dipstick on it. This is like a vacuum brake bleeder, so I'll just try and suck a little bit out of there with this. Okay, pray for no leaks, because I didn't redo that fitting at the bottom of the tank. I put the fuel filter before the pump for obvious reasons. Don't really want to get any junk in there. I'm sure this is a dusty old tank. Don't know if I needed to fill it all the way to the top, but okay. Okay, so I've got it up to the pump. Close that off. There's fuel up to right there. I don't know if you can see that little air bubble. So now we're gonna crank it with fuel on, choke on. Okay, cranking. Okay, so far, no. It does not want to suck through that. Man, I wonder if it kind of got through the pump a bit already. Okay, now I have it right to there. So the pump has been primed with fuel. I wonder if that could help it. Let's give that a shot. Okay, on. Aha, it's working! It's working! It's getting up there! Oh! Okay, it's on choke right now. Choke's off. Okay, so it needs a little warming up. Oh! Yeah, the gas shocks work so good now that they are just on the cusp. If you don't kind of hold it there super still, the body will just take off on its own and just come right up. The weight of the interior is going to help on that a bit. That just happened while we were running it. A little bit freaky, but nothing touched, which is nice. Wow, that's awesome. Oh, I can't believe that it just works perfectly. Like as soon as we prime that pump, it just works. I don't know if that's a little bit of a fuel. No, that's not fuel, it's maybe oil. But is there a puddle underneath it? A little puddle of oil, but no fuel, so we're not leaking. That's amazing. This is amazing. Okay, let's try and restart. Idle's nice. You really see that transmission, how it works. Love it. Couldn't be happier. That's amazing. Oh, it runs. We could almost drive it. The thing runs. The baby Buick is alive. Yeah, super stoked. The pump does work. Like this pulse pump, I'm really happy about that. And I've got clear lines on there so that you can actually see whether or not we're gonna get oil in there. I do expect that, maybe when it's just parked here, not going anywhere, that no oil's getting inside there, but there's absolutely a possibility that that line will get oil in it when we're bouncing around and driving it. So a couple of things we could do. Could make a baffle inside, could loop the line up. I don't really want to loop the line up because the exhaust is there, but we're changing the exhaust, so I guess it's an option. But I think probably the baffle's the best idea, like similar to like a V8 motor that has a valve cover and a PCV valve. They've got a baffle on the inside so that you're not splashing oil into that spot. So I think that's what we'll do if we run into that problem, which we probably will. Yeah, I guess for now, next up for me, I'm gonna throw the chains on it so that the jack shaft is bolted down, the sprocket to the rear axle is hooked up. We've got a chain here to the jack shaft and then one from here to the torque converter. Once those are in, I'm gonna start hooking up things like brakes. There's this brake line. It's still got the tab on it. I'll weld that to the frame. We'll start running things like that. I also need to do a little bit more of the structure. Just tie the top bar down so that we have sort of our back firewall, backrest area. I'm just gonna only work on things that are gonna get it closer to driving because I'm not gonna just finish it and drive it. I think it'd be sick if it was a driving project, So mini bike race is coming. I wanna toot this thing around the yard. Okay, so we're working on our jack shaft here. This is size 40 chain. There's kind of two sizes for go-karts. You usually use 35 or 40. I like using 40, just less likely to skip, a little bit stronger chain. But right now, you can see I'm in between teeth. Can't quite get a half link out of it. Like if I could bump it over one more, I could maybe put a half link on, but that's where it's gonna be. And that to me is just too much slop. Like that's just too much slop. It's a little bit tricky. We're tightening two chains at once. I've got some forward and backward movement on the jack shaft, which will be able to adjust this chain. But because this one's kind of coming vertically, we've got to think of a different way. One way we could do it is we could just kind of tip the motor up, maybe space the front of the motor up, and it would take that away. The other thing we could do is put a spacer underneath the jack shaft so that we can hop onto another tooth and hopefully that will tighten it up. I think I'm gonna go with that route for now. The motor's all bolted down and it's kind of tricky to get into that hardware. This is a lot easier. So just to test it out, I'll make plates with the CNC if this is the right thickness, but I'm gonna test with some washers underneath here right now and just see if that's gonna work. Well, you see this little void under here. These washers were kind of sitting in all crooked, so we weren't really getting an accurate reading. It didn't quite seem like it lifted it enough, so I'll have to do something a little bit thicker, I think. I just got to get that slop out of there. It's just too much, you know. When we did have those under, it was kind of sitting okay, but better cut some full-size plates for these to space them. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so it's all back together, but I've got a lot more slop than I thought I had. And the reason being is that there was a little bit of a burr inside here that caught the chain and it was holding it. So I don't know if I actually need this whole spacer, or if I can readjust somehow. My problem is that this one's perfect and this one's just sloppy. My other idea was maybe putting a bit of a chain tensioner, like on an old lawnmower. Sometimes they would run like 2 roller bearings side by side and it would hold the chain there. Because the drive force is going counterclockwise, it's pulling on this side. So if I were to put a chain tensioner, I would do it in such a way where it was on this side, which is the loose side of the chain as it's driving this way. It's pulling that tight. This would be loose. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but it does work for now. It's just a little bit sloppy. So to be honest, I'm probably just going to move on. That works. I have to adjust it, but it works right now. So I think up next is going to be the little bit more structure in here. I'm going to put some bars that go from the top there down to here on both sides, tie that in, and then we will be able to kind of decide what we're going to do as a latch mechanism and foot pedals. Those are the other things that we got to do. Okay, so I got those bars in and I did get that chain working nice. I don't know what happened there. It just, I guess, was caught on something. I made spacers for it, thought it needed them, didn't need the spacers. There's no spacers in there now and it's totally fine. So that's all good. What I'm thinking about next, I'm gonna show you what I got here. These are again from Princess Auto. And I'm learning in the comments and from my research that Harbor Freight is not the same as Princess Auto. They are very similar with tools, but Princess Auto is more of a like farm supply type place too. So it has all kinds of stuff that would help farmers for fixing, you know, equipment and machinery and everything. What I'm trying to say is I found some rubber anti-vibration pads with stud, which are these, and I think this is going to work perfect for something to rest the body frame on when it gets latched.
this is what I'm working on next. So we've got those structured pieces in. I do want to put a couple of bars in the bottom here that will land on a couple of pads so that the body is, you know, on some rubber and not kind of clanking around steel to steel. So I'm going to use that. And then I feel like something that would be very easy to use is just a hood pin kit. It's just a Mr. Gasket hood pin kit, super cheap. I thought for adjustability, it would be nice because then when you're sitting in here, you know, your weight will be on the seat right here and you'll be compressing the rubber a little bit, and then we'll be able to, this is a threaded thing, we'll be able to adjust the hood pin so that the pin just slides in and is kind of holding it tight to the rubber. I was considering other latches like what would be on a door and stuff as well. I'm sure that would work great. But I'm thinking if you're sitting in the car and you're getting out, you could just pull those hood pins, you know. At least it would be even a safety situation to have hood pins there, and you could still put a latch, like a bear claw type latch in the front, like a pin latch that opens underneath the hood or something. But at least those latches will be like a fail-safe, basically. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to add a piece of structure that goes from here to there that lands on top of some of those rubber mounts, and then I'm going to add some kind of bracket to the front that accepts the hood pins. Then the body will be attached to the chassis, and I may or may not drive it in the yard without brakes.
Okay, wow, those things turned out great. Super happy with how simple those pins are. I'll probably still put a latch at the front so that when we put it down, it clicks, and then we can sit down and put the pins in, and they will end up being more of just a safety kind of thing and a solid mount. They kind of hold down on those rubber pads that are underneath this little channel that we fabricated, and that, it's nice, it's just solid. Yeah, super stoked with that. The car is technically drivable right now, and I'm not gonna disappoint. I'm not gonna take it outside because too many things are gonna fall off of it. That's a lie. I already took it outside. A bunch of things fell off of it. I don't wanna do that again.
I'll check the grass in the morning and see what else you lost off that thing.
I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna drive it in the shop and kind of go from one end to the other without smashing into the garage door. I just, you know, I hope you guys are as excited as I am. This thing's really coming together, and we are gonna get some interior happening. These are some seats that I had left over from the hot rod. I'm gonna cut them down a little bit, and they fit perfectly in here, make a little bench seat. Like I said, it's all gonna get upholstery and stuff eventually, but it's something to sit on for now. Let's take it for a test drive.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. It's comfy. It's nice. Okay, choked. We're gonna have to probably let it run a little bit. It's still cold. Make sure fuel's on. Is it? Yep, fuel's on. Choke's on. Fires up better than the hot rod.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of Make It Custom. I really want to thank you guys for watching and supporting, commenting, liking, sharing. All that is very much appreciated. We just have so much fun over here making these videos for you guys, so thank you so much. Big shout out to the Custom crew. If you don't know what that is, that's just one extra way that you could support the channel if you like. For $5 a month, gets you a little badge by your name. It gets you a discount code for our merch store, which is also in the description. You can get t-shirts, hats, whatever you like. We make keychains and air fresheners, and we got all kinds of custom goodies over there. Anyway, japhandskustoms.com is the merch store, but like I said, it'll be in the description. The baby Buick has come a very long way, and now that it's running, I cannot wait to get gas pedal, brake pedal, seats, like all those things done with it. I want to make a cool exhaust for it. I want you guys to let me know in the comments what you would like to see. There's been a few ideas bounced around. Lake pipes on the outside. Yes, we are going to put fender skirts. Those little drawings that I've been doing, it's definitely gonna get fender skirts. So we're thinking either pipes coming out of the fender skirts or pipes as lake pipes. My personal favorite at the moment is kind of pencil tip dual pipes out the back and then the skirts on the side. But let me know what you guys think. One other suggestion I read in the comments, which I love the idea, is the trunk hinges right now are on the outside, but it would be really sweet if they were hidden on the inside so you didn't see them on the outside. So that might be something that I do in the future as well. Yeah. Like I said, just loving working on the baby Buick, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. We're gonna get you on the next one. Stay tuned.